welcome to Loot Level Chat episode 8, the podcast from lootlevelchill.com. My name's Adam Cook and I'm joined by Mick Fraser and Lyle Pendle. How are you both, all right?
Hello.
Hi, I'm good, yeah, kicking ass. We've got so many good video games and we can't talk about all of them and they're not all out yet.
Any of them? Can we talk about it?
We can talk about a few.
Yeah, a couple. Enough to do an episode, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We are in 2025's golden era at the moment, I think.
Look, right, I'm not going to reference any specific game or games when I say this, right? But I had a moment today, and I wonder, well, I know you two will have had this at some point, but I had this moment, I think, maybe for the second time this year, maybe for the first time really strong, where even at my age, I sort of sat there and went, good God, video games are fantastic, aren't they? Like, I have so many, not just good, like excellent video games on the go right now, that it was just like a moment where you go, fuck. You know what I mean? I know you've had that. I know you can't even, I know, Mick, you can't talk about, well, actually, if I even say that, it's almost hinting. So, but you know what I mean, right? You know the feeling. You know the feeling, right?
We both know the feeling, surely.
It just dawns on you, doesn't it? All of a sudden, it's like you almost got too many good ones to play, where you're like, wow.
And I can't even tell many people about this problem.
Yeah. It's been a good year so far for things as well. Just for things, you know. Like, I mean, we've had a good Ubisoft game. I don't care what anyone says. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think it's brilliant. We've had a good Ubi game. We've had a fantastic indie game just popped out of nowhere. That, you know, it's been a good year so far, I think.
It has, and the reason I try to be super positive is because I want to try and delve into the first part of 2 bits of news this week, and one of them I don't know how we're going to... I should say we're not negative on it, but the reaction to a lot of what is around this game has been negative. Bungie have finally sort of unveiled Marathon more. Obviously, Bungie is owned by PlayStation now, I think, right?
I think so.
Destiny, they own. Yeah, I think so.
But it's still they're still kind of operating under their own flag,
and it's coming to PlayStation, Steam, Xbox Series S and X on September 23rd. You're a big Bungie fan, Mick. So
it's a weird one, this, because I'm a big You say I'm a big
Destiny fan.
A big Destiny fan. Like, Bungie as a company are a little bit shaky, right?
But to be fair, those early Halos were...
Well, yeah, they were great.
Terrific, set standard.
It's not that Bungie left, you know, it's not anymore. It's kind of like Trigger's broom now, you know. It's true, you know. Most of what Bungie is now weren't the people that made sort of Halo 25 years ago, whatever the first Halo game was, you know.
Yeah, they're all dead now. They're so old.
I mean, I was going to say, I'm not even the same me that made my own kids like 20 years ago. Everything's the world is a very different place.
But I think there's been a bit of backlash. So I don't even remember ever playing the original Marathon, because it's quite an old thing. It's
Lyle,
an old
did
game.
you?
I played it on they brought it out as like a Xbox Live Arcade thing at some point, I think, and I don't know if I played it or played like the demo or something and was like,
what I remember, and someone can correct me at some point.
Sorry, Mick, just to correct you, someone will correct you.
Someone will correct me. Yeah, I'm sure it was a narrative. It was because games were narrative then, weren't they? Like, the multiplayer thing wasn't as much of a thing. So it was a narrative shooter, first person shooter, and then obviously Bungie have done.
Is this not?
No,
not
so
at all.
This is part of the backlash. So Bungie have done.
I didn't know that.
For better or worse, Bungie have pretty much just been doing Destiny for 10 years now, right? Destiny has been their thing.
Wow.
Destiny through Destiny 2. It's been an ongoing story. They fumbled it at times. They saved it at times. I mean, I went on about it last year because they did really good things with...
They nailed it.
With the final shape. They really nailed the finale of a game that's still churning out content that I admit I haven't been back to.
I was going to say, you say finale, I'm pretty sure I had an email about new content coming to that game recently.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they're still doing it. And for me, it finished like it ended. The story ended, and I just haven't really brought myself... There's a moth there somewhere. I just saw it. I haven't been able to bring myself to go back to it. So, but the thing about Marathon is everybody wants Destiny 3. Like, everybody wants Destiny 3 now. They've said there's not going to be a Destiny 3. It's just going to be an ongoing story. They're just going to keep Destiny 2 running on the same creaky old engine, the same creaky old foundations. We're just going to get, but obviously Destiny fans, which is what Bungie fans are now. Let's be honest, Bungie fans are Destiny fans. Like Bungie hasn't touched Halo for a long time. Bungie hasn't done anything but Destiny for a long time. So Bungie fans are Destiny players, and Destiny players want more Destiny. And what Bungie have done is they've gone, well, you know, we know you want that, but we've made this anyway. Yeah, and then they've gone, but don't worry, because we've kind of made Marathon, which there will be people who were excited when they heard the name Marathon. This is an older game. Like,
so is this the thing, the same situation then that Respawn are in, where they keep supporting Apex Legends, but people want Titanfall 3?
People just want Titanfall 3. Yeah, it's the same thing. And so Bungie have basically come out and gone, we're not making Destiny 3, but we've taken an old IP that you may or may not remember, and some people will remember fondly, because someone remembers fucking everything fondly. And instead, we've just made basically Destiny's Crucible mode, but called it Marathon. And if you watch, it's got even to the point where, so it's an extraction shooter. So it's not Destiny's Crucible mode, really. Destiny's Crucible mode is just a team shooter, but it's an extraction shooter, which, let's be honest, is already kind of...
Well, what's the name of that PlayStation one that... Oh, dearie me. It came out on PC.
Concord?
Yes, that's what
which
started coming to my... Well, it didn't come to my mind because I couldn't remember the name of it, but...
No, because it existed for 2 weeks. And so, you know, they've... So basically, they've just taken the name Marathon, and even to the point where if you watch the trailer for Marathon, the gameplay trailer, there's Destiny reload animations. Like people have picked this apart and gone, that animation is just, you've just used Destiny animations with a different skin. So obviously people are already, I mean, I don't know how long this will last after it comes out. I mean, I'll give everything a chance. Anything can be good, but people have already sort of decided, based on one trailer, this is going to be the next thing. I think people are going to, you know, this is the next lynch mob for this one.
But like, and it is Bungie still.
It is Bungie, and Bungie do. So this is the thing about Bungie, in my opinion, and you can wave people like Sledgehammer or even id Software, or whoever around all you want. Their Destiny Bungie are, in my opinion, probably the best designers of FPS mechanics, let's say. Like, they're like, but Destiny still keeps dropping the names right. Destiny still is better mechanically than probably any shooter you can list. In my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, you can say what you want about the game, the missteps they've made, the microtransactions, all that bollocks. If you strip all that away, it's a phenomenally good shooter. The game feel is spectacular and always has been. So this is still those people. So there's still a very good chance that Marathon is going to feel good, really good. It's going to be a very, very well crafted and very tight FPS. But it's just another extraction shooter, and it's just another. I mean, it's not free to play either, which again, people are going, well, multiplayer only games nowadays, what are you giving us that makes me want to buy this? Is it
definitely only multiplayer? There's definitely no...
From what I know and what I've seen, there's no campaign mode.
Well, let's put it this way. If they've had all this flack and not gone, look, we are... You know, we're going to do... They would have...
They're either very brave or very stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's even out until 20... No, it's out at the end of this September 23rd. Yeah, so I think that's going to roll. I personally think they're going to do an alpha or a beta or both, a couple of closed play tests. They're going to get the feedback, and it's going to roll into next year, I think.
Or if they delay it to next year, that give them a chance to line it up again with like the Mars thing, where they renamed it Marathon for a little bit in the shops, and they did a marketing deal going on. Do you know what I mean?
I think they've got to do something.
Man joke. But it did happen because this year.
It was Snickers, not Mars. Snickers was Marathon.
Yeah, but I thought Mars owned Snickers, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's
Mars do own Snickers. Yeah,
right. But yeah,
Snickers you're making me hungry now. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where.
Shit, what's the advert? You're not even yet.
Yeah,
it doesn't
with
matter.
Joan. Yeah. So it's one of those things. I think it's probably a misstep. I don't think it's going to do them any favors. I don't think it's going to hurt Destiny any more than Bungie sort of tend to do cyclically anyway.
Fair enough. I'm a fan.
You know, Destiny's gonna retain its core player base, which keeps it going. So I don't think it's going to hurt the company, but I do think this is going to be a blip and it's going to vanish. And it wouldn't surprise me if in 2026 Destiny gets a fucking extraction shooter mode. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So it's a bit disappointing. I wanted Destiny 3. I want more Destiny stuff anyway. I always wanted them to do the animated show they hinted at and things like that, which haven't come to pass yet. But I mean, it is what it is. More games is good games.
I suppose that's true, but we can move from one. Well, it's very early at the time we record this, but I've seen like a bit of a backlash on Reddit to the Mario Kart World Direct as well.
Hooray! Let's go.
Apparently, people. I think I sort of get it because what I watched it was 15 minutes long, and what it sort of was more of a bringing everything we've seen since the initial reveal, the hands-ons, the like people like us had, into one 15-minute. This is what this game is. And when you say like a Nintendo Direct or even like an Xbox Developer Direct, you sort of have a little more. You think there's going to be some like big reveals, but it wasn't. Well, it was sort of the case because so they've announced the new. I mean, I didn't see this and I've played it, so whether it wasn't in the build or I just didn't notice, but you can do a charge jump. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this a little bit is because a lot of what they showed regarding the new techniques, shall we say, made the game look a bit more Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So now you can charge up a jump, and if you're at an angle, you can hit a wall, and you like wall run or wall ride along, which you then can jump off again to get to like different verticality and find secrets and stuff, which is really more Tony Hawk than it is Mario Kart. They've also confirmed a lot about the sort of free roam stuff, the open world stuff. They're still not calling it a single player, but I suppose you can play it with friends, so it isn't single player. But you can free roam around this map. Every course is connected via this overall map, and you can find like P switches, and when you find them, they like reveal little objectives. And one of them was literally you go forward and you jump on a blue rail. And then you go to the middle rail, then to the left rail, and back, and you're getting blue coins. Again, like Ratchet and Clank almost, that platforming really, rather than driving. And there's Peach coins. I don't think they revealed what they do. And there's a rewind feature in a Mario Kart game. It really is a modern racing game.
Forza Horizon style.
Yeah, that seems weird because Mario Kart's. I don't know. Does it seem weird or is it normal? I don't know.
I mean, it does seem kind of... A lot of these things, although they're maybe not like, this is the first time a racing game's ever done that. They're these things where it's like, this isn't a Mario Kart thing though, right? In Mario Kart, you ride around a track and you throw shells at each other and it's great.
What's the backlash then?
People thought they were going to get more revealed, and it is just like a summation of everything that everyone knew pulled together. And I think when you say, like, say, Nintendo Direct of any kind, you think...
Well, surely they've got to keep something in the holster. Like,
I mean, it's out
we've got
in less than 2 months.
That is true, actually. Yeah, it's not like they said
it's
it's out at Christmas, is it? I suppose. So yeah.
No, it's out literally. Less than 8 weeks. Which sounds, saying it out loud, is frightening. But also the other thing about the P-switch thing is they've said, and I'm quoting here, to take on hundreds of missions. And they mentioned that it helped you improve your driving skills. Some of the stuff you'll have to do these little missions. It feels like people want other people to be upset and not looking forward to a new Mario Kart. Does that sound weird to say?
Isn't that's kind of like a culture in this industry anyway, isn't it? If you like something, someone's got to fucking bring it down.
But I've played it, and the thing I did come away from feeling, I only played a little bit of it. Like I played the elimination mode and just a normal bit of free roam and a bit of just a race, 2 races, I think it was. It feels like Mario Kart. But that is not a negative thing to say. Like, if you came away going, this felt awful, you'd be like, no, but it felt like the Mario Kart we know, but massive. Like, massive. Like, when I played... So when you're playing the elimination mode, which is the one where if you don't finish X positions, you get booted out, you're out, sort of thing. When you play in that, well, again, I don't think you'll see this as much once the game's out, but because it was an event, there was only they were waiting for the other 23 people to be ready and join from the queue, sort of thing. You just free roam around, And there was a bit where I'm really out of practice, and I just fell off the course. Now, of course, Lyle, you tell me what happens when you fall off of a course.
You get picked up and you get
little
plunked
cloud
back on
dude
the
picks you up.
course.
Even I know that,
Even
and I haven't
Mick
played
knows that,
Mario
for Christ's
Kart for a decade.
So I'm falling, and I'm sort of looking around because nothing's happening. I'm just falling, and I was just about to say, I think it's broke. I think it's a bug. Because it's not. And then suddenly I hit the water, and I realised, oh, you just carry on, and then you're just looking around this level that I don't know if it's another course down there at some point, but this isn't part of the course. You're just driving around. There's trees. There's going to be well, I reckon that we would be, collectibles and hidden stuff there because it's a demo build. There wasn't, and then you eventually find like a ramp that helps you fly back up to the start of the course, and you're like, oh, okay, this is going to change. I mean, I don't know how that would. I mean, in a race, I would presume you would just get hoiked back up, and
You'd think
I don't know.
But we don't know, I guess.
Maybe not. Maybe like if you fall off, you're fucked. Sorry, son. Like, you find your way back up.
If you'd raced a bit shitter, we could have got an exclusive there.
But it was just a weird thing because people say like, I just said it. Oh, it's Mario Kart, but it sort of isn't because I say I'm literally stood there falling. It's one of those where you're like, this is too far. Why is it not? Why is the thing that has always happened in Mario games not happening? And then it hits you, and it is I wouldn't say it was a wow moment. There was a few of them, but that wasn't one of them really. But it was a moment of like, this game is bigger than you'd think of. I think it is also something you need to see and experience to sort of really get it, if that makes sense, which is difficult, but
For sure. I mean, it's just so exciting because, like, as someone who obviously fucking loves Mario Kart, and has been playing and enjoying for many years Mario Kart 8 and all its new additional fun shit, it's like the idea of, like, usually I'll just, replay the same courses over and over again and, against tougher, like, AI or maybe online if I really want to hurt myself. But, like, the idea of now as a single player person just being like, well, I could just drive around actually and find stuff, and like there's like a lot of stuff to do that's never been really there before. Like this isn't like the game you whip out when you've got a few friends over, like it won't necessarily have to be that, or where you have to organize playing with friends online or anything like that. But that's all there too.
And battle mode's back.
Back.
Which I know, it probably was obvious, but
it's still good, isn't it?
Saying that, didn't they add that later for 8? Or
I think they did, yeah.
Something that was added with Deluxe Edition that they brought back.
I think so. I think it was that.
Yeah, it's like just standard battle mode with the balloons and that. But yeah, look, I'm very excited to play that. I know Steve was talking to me about Donkey Kong, saying, "Is it July yet?" To me, it's like, "Is it June yet?" Because one, it's my birthday in June, which is always fun. But two, Mario Kart. There's a new Mario Kart for fuck's. We kind of waited long enough. I mean, when you think about it, right? The weird thing is, we went a whole new console generation without a new Mario Kart.
Yeah, instead they just added an extra half to a different Mario Kart.
Basically, yeah. Okay, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. And Mick, you kick us off, because I know it's a game you've been very excited to sort of finally play. Mandragora, I'm not going to say the full name because I've forgotten it, but Mandragora, a Souls-like action platformer, combat.
Yeah. It's Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree. They added that. So when I think so too, yeah. I feel like I've been previewing this game for years. Like, I'm sure they announced it like.
Wasn't it delayed at some point?
I'm sure. Well, it was announced like 3 years ago. It never had an early access, but they did quite a few play tests and closed betas, and did a few preview events. The preview event a couple of months ago, which the preview's on Loot Level Chill. Now the review is. Yeah, and it's just kind of felt like something I've been talking about for ages. I think I mentioned it on the pod back in probably January or sometime after I did the preview. Yeah, so it's a 2D Metroidvania Souls-like that kind. It's basically like Salt and Sanctuary. I think that's the closest. It's that if Salt and Sanctuary was a genre, then this would be part of that genre. It's basically like
Salt and Sanctuary, like.
Yes, yeah, not like Salt and Sacrifice, which was kind of like 2D Monster Hunter.
Which was the first one?
Salt and Sanctuary was the first one.
Yeah.
Right. So Salt and Sanctuary was 2D Dark Souls, and then Salt and Sacrifice was basically 2D Monster Hunter. So it was quite. Yeah, it sounds weird, but it was. So yeah, so Yeah, well, they're both really
They
good.
both
Scar
were, yeah.
Studios, in fact, Scar Studios have been quiet for ages.
Yeah,
I'm
no, you've
surprised.
said that, and my brain's gone to, well, hang on a minute.
I think
Yeah,
we'll get another Salt game at some point. But anyway,
maybe they're secretly
yeah,
making
Salt and pepper.
Salt and Pepper. Well, I was
Salt.
going to say maybe they're secretly making Hollow Knight, but you Silk Song, but you've yeah, you win
No,
that round. Lyle.
I think they're going to try and do the Salt and something with another sort of genre.
So
But
what, do we
anyway,
have Salt and Sanctuary? No, you're right. Yeah, sorry, no, we could do that. No.
yeah. So Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, which they added. It was just Mandragora. I don't know why they added
I don't
Whispers
know
of the
why
Witch
you
Tree.
take a fairly standout title. This is not what we're
I
here to talk about, but
think
Mandragora is quite a standout name, and then add loads of
usually,
words to it to make it even
yeah.
longer.
Usually it means that they're planning to franchise it, maybe. But then you would have thought that about Kingdom Come Deliverance, then they just called it Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 instead of like
but
Kingdom
they had the
Come
colon in after
Revelations.
Kingdom
Or...
Come, didn't they? It's
Yeah.
Kingdom Come colon. No, is it? Shit. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it is,
Kingdom
right?
Come colon Deliverance,
Yeah.
and then Kingdom Come colon Deliverance 2 instead
Which
of just anyway.
That sounds like a different game when you say the word colon Deliverance.
But yeah, so Mandragora is like I said, they added the Whispers of the Witch Tree, and it's really good. I really like it. It's like so it's you call it everything's kind of Souls like these days. If it's an action game, whether it's 3D or 2D, you could say it's a bit Souls like. But this has got all the elements that you'd expect. It's got stamina management. There's a dodge. There's a parry. It's got the Dead Souls. Got the iframes. Like the iframe dodge. There is a parry, but the parry is only on one class. So if
I
you
was
don't,
just about to say I've played this. There's what? Sorry, now.
yeah, the parry is attached to a shield, and the only
Okay,
class
yeah, I
that
don't
can
know.
really make use of a shield is the warrior class. So that's where the parry is.
Okay.
But everybody's got the dodge. Everybody's got stamina management. You've obviously got what their version of a bonfire, enemies that respawn on death or when you fast travel or when you rest. You can only level up at the save point. So it's got all that sort of stuff. But it is very much also a dyed-in-the-wool Metroidvania, like very much so. I mean, there's a double jump you unlock later. There's a grappling hook. There's a thing that you get where you can, because it's all the way through the early part of the game. Every now and again, you'll see like a green portal on a ceiling that you can't get to, and eventually you can get to that. That opens up new areas, but it's fucking massive. Like you wouldn't expect. Like normally a Metroidvania, you'd expect maybe, I don't know, 12 to 15 hours, maybe, that sort of thing. This is much bigger than that. And it's got like there's a whole mechanic where you get something called a witch lantern, where it's a bit like Lords of the Fallen, where you can go into the other world. You can't do it like Lords of the Fallen, where you can just press a button and switch, but you've got these specific like breakpoints where you can find those and travel to this other world. And then this other world has got sort of portals and other realms coming off that. And yeah, it's really good. There's like a hub where you meet these NPCs, because your job is, you're an inquisitor, which is pretty bog standard. You're an inquisitor, and your job is to go and kill this witch. But then that evolves into, not everything is as it seems. Who are the real bad guys? This, that, and the other. And you end up sort of like traveling all these various lands. You do have to kill witches, you do have to kill other warriors, you do have to kill bandits and wolves and spiders and zombies and all the usual stuff. But as you travel around, you'll meet NPCs, and they will all gather at this witch tree, this titular witch tree, which is kind of like a shrine where you can go later on and upgrade certain abilities that you've got. And yeah, so you'll go through the world, and I think a couple of the NPCs I think can be missed, because I found one more or less by pure luck. And I found
there's one in the first town. If you didn't speak to her,
yeah, if you went straight past her, no, she wouldn't join you.
And there's another one in just before or after that town where you do a quest for him.
Yeah.
And the result of that is so I suppose if you didn't do that quest,
yeah, well, yeah. So the first one you meet, the blacksmith, you have to do his quest.
No,
it's
I mean the guy who's not allowed into a certain area.
Yeah, you could ignore
in the.
No, if you don't do his quest, I don't know, you would just miss out, because he's the guy that fills your map in for you. It's like a bit like Hollow Knight, where you haven't got a map. The map is just so in the preview, it was something I complained about, because the map was just like a fog, and you couldn't see anything unless you found map fragments for Gerald, gave them to him, and he filled your map in. Yeah. Whereas in the actual release version, the map is just It's just a standard Metroidvania map, but there's no icons or anything in it. You can't see anything. It's just, you just know where the walls are. Whereas when you meet this guy and you give him map fragments, he fills out the map. So you have to upgrade them all by finding diagrams. Like there's a gold worker, there's a cook, there's an alchemist who can grow. So there's a real, like, the first part of the game's got a real resource problem where you, especially if you're a spellcaster, because there's no mana potions really to come by unless you buy the cheap ones. But when you meet the alchemist,
ears, though, aren't there? Plenty of goblins'
yeah,
ears. And
plenty
stuff
of
like
that, yeah. But when you meet the alchemist, you can plant seeds in her garden, and then she'll grow stuff for you, so then you can craft potions from the seeds you plant. And they take about, it counts down in seconds for some reason. It's like 700 seconds, so you go off and do something else, come back, and there's a load of resources for you. So it's got that cool stuff. The cook will give you buffs, so you can make meals, and then you can keep them when you use them. You get
He should give you review codes.
Yeah, usually cook gives me review code. Yeah. But no, it's just a really good game. It's just really well made. It's got a really good feel. It is quite difficult, which you would expect, because it does.
The parry. Sorry, I haven't done all of it. The dodge rolls, the iframes thing's quite generous, though, right? I feel it's not like, I don't feel like I'm banging my head against it, though. That's the problem thing I would say.
I think the difference is that later on, the enemies hit so hard and they hit so fast. And when they come at you in 2 or 3, and it's one of those things where Dead Cells, well, I guess every 2D action game is kind of guilty of this a bit. The enemies have the same movements. They move at the same time. You can very rarely and very accidentally end up with 2 enemies kind of behind one another. So you're getting hit twice when you think it's one. Sometimes they'll have, one enemy will hit you, you'll dodge that while the other one is hitting, and you'll come out into the second guy. So it's got that kind of thing going on.
And of course, there's poison.
There's a lot of poison. The poison is a real fucking pain. In fact, any negative status effect in the game is a pain in the ass. But it is quite difficult. And like I said, the enemies really kind of hit hard. Some of the bosses some of the bosses are 2-phasers. Some of them have, like these insane mechanics where the first time you meet one, you'll probably die while you figure out what to do, and then you'll go back with that knowledge, and so it's got that kind of Soulsian sort of feel to it. But
see, I think that's just a video game, that part, because I don't think I really want to beat every boss first time in any video game.
And to be honest, I'm not necessarily a highly skilled gamer, but this, like, I haven't really got stuck on anything in this game where it's taken me like loads and loads of attempts.
15 or something.
Yeah, in fact, there was like a vampire boss that took me 4 or 5 attempts because he had an attack that I was like, I was like, this is impossible. How do you cannot avoid that attack? You can't. And then I realized that he's a vampire and there's 2 shafts of light in the room. So you just stand in them. What tip for you? Anybody who gets stuck on Lord Oberon, stand in the light.
But also, so like, isn't because again, I don't know because I haven't played it nearly as much as you, obviously. But like every boss I fought, the checkpoint, bonfire, checkpoint, whatever you want, they've either been really close or there's been like a shortcut. He does that cycle round to the back again, and now I can open the door.
Usually there's a little shortcut. Yeah, usually there's a little shortcut. Some of the corpse runs are a bit of a pain. Like there are a few of them where it's like, that's a bit of a distance, but not many. But then it's a game where, because it's built the way it is, it's not one of those, like, I don't like Metroidvania games where when you leave a screen and come back, the enemies respawn.
For a minute there, Mick, that was a longer pause than.
Yeah, that felt deliberate.
I love Metroidvania games.
That's why I was like, wait.
I hate it when they do that thing where you leave a screen, you come back, and everything's respawned. It drives me up the wall.
Yes, that's very old-fashioned. That is, yeah.
Whereas I like that in this, you can clear, if you want to explore a level, you don't want to, you can clear an entire level out. But then if you want the enemies back and you want to farm them for XP, because you can farm, you can grind, you can farm for drops and equipment. The enemies drop loot. There's armor sets. There's rare weapons. Most of the things I've found are in fixed locations, so the rarer items, special keys, anything like that will be in a fixed area. So if you do another run, like I played the preview for about 10 or 12 hours.
Worth noting for those listening or watching, the preview wasn't 10 hours long.
No, I just kept playing it. But then
stop.
Obviously, like but when I went back and did it with the like for realsies, I sort of pissed where I was in the demo in about 2 hours because I just knew where everything was. I now got to go and get that. So it's got that kind of sensation to it, but it's just a really well made game. Like it's just a really, really, I know it's the sort of thing that I've been kind of waiting for since Salt and Sacrifice, because I've been waiting for another game because I love Metroidvanias, I love loot games, I love like that kind of RPG because it's very much an RPG. You level up, you unlock, you know, you've got a massive talent tree for every class, you've got certain skills for every class. You can multi-class at level 25, so you can split you've got like 2 weapon slots, so you can you know, change your magic around and things like that. So it's very deep, and there's just a lot of it. I mean, it could potentially wear out its welcome for some people, I guess, maybe, but I don't think Metroidvanias ever do that because they're always changing. You always get a new mechanic, and when you get a new mechanic, you go back to the beginning, you go back through it again, looking for all those points. Like when you get the grapple hook, I was like, shit, now I can't remember where any of those grapple points were, and there were like 10 grapple points that I couldn't do. Eventually, I went back and found them all, and they've all got, you know, there's a secret or a diagram or a new piece of armor. It's just, yeah, it's wonderful. Really good game.
I must admit, I'm looking forward to playing more of it. It's very. It always feels like I haven't got enough to say when I say this sort of thing, but it just feels very playable. Like it doesn't feel like there's any sort of. I'm not rubbing up against anything in it. Like I expect to die a few times. There was one boss early on. I think probably one of the first human bosses you fight. Basically, one of the first bosses that aren't rats. And I did struggle a bit with that because I'd gone so heavy on the casting stuff. But you just have to. It's quite a malleable. I mean, the fact that I think you said it in the review as well, like the fact that you can, although you pick a class, at some point you can just use, and the skill trees are massive, like massive, by the way. The fact you can eventually use the other skill trees as well means you can sort of create your own how you want to, and I like that. I like that it's not like, nope, sorry, you're locked in.
Yeah, and I haven't found an upper limit. I've not found an upper limit to the talent points or the leveling up yet. So I don't know what the max level is. But I'm really high level in it, and there's a new game plus as well, so it's there's a lot of stuff going on in it.
Well, you can on this very channel, so youtube.com/lootlevelchill, you can find a video review on that and a little 1-minute short version of that as well. And on the website lootlevelchill.com, you can obviously find the actual written review with the score on that. And in fact, most of those things are also true, apart from the full length review of Lushfoil Photography Sim, which could not be a more different game. Really, Lyle.
I immediately passed on this one. I'm glad that someone picked it up because I was curious about it, to be honest.
It's weird.
Yeah, so Lushfoil Photography Sim. There's not really a lot of like corpse runs and things like that in the game. Bit slightly different to Mandragora.
So what on earth do you do in it then?
Yeah, well, so basically, right, it's a game about photography. So you better believe you walk around and you take nice photos of trees and lakes and buildings and all sorts of things. So basically, you have like 10 levels that are like big, fairly, well, they're not open because you can't really walk off paths very well. There are sort of kind of distinct paths, but they're still very big worlds, and they're all based on real world locations. In fact, all but one are like sort of magically scanned in with science locations. But like they're real world places, so they're like you'll be in like the mountains of France, or you'll be on an Australian beach, or on a wet and rainy northern England place, and all these different things, and like, you know, all these different environments, and you have on you a DSLR camera, and at any point you just press a button to whip out your camera. And if you are like a camera noob like me who doesn't really know what they're doing, you can just, you know, lightly hold the right trigger and it'll focus on the middle of the screen. Whatever's in the middle of the screen will go into focus. Then you push down the trigger. I was playing with the DualSense, by the way, which is perfect for that. And you know, shutter will go, you'll take a photo, it's really nice. It'll save it if you, by default, it saves every photo you take just to your computer. So my PC's got like thousands of fucking photos just sat somewhere.
Does it? I didn't know that.
and you can change the like resolution of the auto-saved photos and all this sort of stuff, which really cool.
Good for sharing, then, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just didn't know it
really
did
good.
that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's already a game that's made for people who photo mode up the arse every game.
This is like photo mode the game, right?
It is basically photo.
I feel like this should be bigger because unless I'm misreading it, I feel like loads of people love photo modes.
I think, yeah, I just don't think that enough people either like really know of its existence, maybe as much as anything.
So are there like? I know there's like these are there like cool things to take photos of? Are there
Yeah,
like
there are
things that
T-Rex
happen
that flies down and
well, yeah,
No.
something not that, but like something that like capture
like-
this and
couple of
like,
nudists on the beach. No.
hopefully,
that's the sequel. They're going to go really off the wall with that one. I mean, there are like there'll be like waterfalls. There'll sometimes be wildlife, like there's penguins on a beach on one level. You also get things, and there's like one of I think it's the Japan level that has like all these awesome archways you can walk through and get cool photos of, and like they're not all that like that level in particular is not that sort of nature either, so there's like a little sort of town area where you can take photos and things like that, which are really cool. You also get like little toys you can sort of use in your photos. So the first one of these I got was a paper aeroplane, where you can just throw the paper aeroplane and then try and get like cool photos of this paper aeroplane flying through the air. There was another one I got that was just some kites. They were very fun to just have trailing along. There are also different cameras that you can find lying around. So they're like, and like it'll be like a really like an early 2000s digital camera, and you'll recognize that like beep, 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 like jingle of it turning on, and every photo you take will look like absolute fucking garbage, like just disgusting, awful photos. But some people will find it nostalgic, and I imagine some people will even find ways to take like cool photos with that. And then with your main camera as well, you kind of learn how to do a lot of things. So like there's like I was doing like manual focus to have the focus on things that weren't in the middle, or like all these things with like aperture and exposure and all those words that I always associated with like people who are not me, basically. People who are like, oh, I'll meddle with all these settings. It's like, no, you'll ruin it. Just leave them all alone. But like this game made me feel like one day maybe I would know what those settings were. I mean, I'm never going to have a camera that has them, but if I did, maybe that'd be a thing. Like it has all these cool tutorials to teach you that. And then like it's got like a sort of, I mean, because these environments are so big, there's sort of a virtual hiking element to it, really. Like it's not like obviously you're taking photos, but it's more of like you're just in this, gorgeous environments, getting to just sort of soak in the vibes, the nature, all this sort of stuff. It's really cool for that. My only issue with the game was more that like, so you don't just have like everything unlocked from the start. So how you unlock new levels is there are these like each level has a certain type of like random collectible you'll have to find, like a fox statue or a, like just random things like some sort of drum in Australia and all these sorts of things, which is sort of fine. But then there's also an objective, which is like you have to recreate photos that you find on little like notice boards in the environment.
I tried to cheat at them.
Yeah.
I tried to take a photo of that photo.
That would be amazing.
I don't know if it works because I couldn't get it. The lighting was right off, but I was trying to change the angle and like get it so it looked. Yeah. I wonder.
I don't think so, because I took photos of that just to have them as references to take around with you. But like it means you have to be like, well, this is a photo of these specific trees, so you'll walk around.
It's a coordinates based thing, isn't it? I suspect.
So you're like, oh well, I'll spend 20 minutes looking around for this exact tree, and it's like in that time I stopped thinking, oh, I'm having a nice time in this environment and I'm taking photos, and instead was sort of in like this mode of like, I must sprint as fast as possible to find this because I want to unlock the next level, and it's not really the point of the game.
I suppose that's adding an objective to a photo mode in a way that is not what you like. If you're say playing Assassin's Creed Shadows is a good one for it, like a photo mode in that, you've seen some cool angle with the lighting and you're like, oh, I want to take that. The game's never saying you must take a photo of this to 100%. Let you go forward. And
it's one of those things where like, now that I've unlocked everything in the game, the game is infinitely better.
Right.
But getting to that point wasn't ideal, you know? But like, it's a game that now that I've done that, it's going to stay. I mean, my husband really likes it too. He used to love photography and he like loved nature, and being a wheelchair user, you can't get into nature that easily a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it kind of is this sort of like perfect idea of a game, a perfect concept for a game for him, for example. But it's like, it was like getting to the point of it being like more than 2 or 3 levels. It's just like, it's a slog that felt very unnecessary for me. But
I get it.
But once you get through that, I feel more positive about the game now than I did when I was sort of reviewing it, because I've done the bit that I didn't really enjoy, and that never has to be a part of my life again, you know?
Yeah. It's beautiful, though, I will say. And I like the fact
beautiful.
that you can take certain photographs that you can fast travel straight back to. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's a cool idea for sure. And there's also like, it's like a solo dev, I think, for the most part, and it's just sort of a bit wild as a concept that is it.
No, I've only played a very small amount of it for basically to capture some for the little YouTube short we did, and like I must admit, watching it back myself on a phone screen was like, well, that's more photoreal than it almost looked when I was playing it. It is one of those where you know when you're watching someone else play a game and you realise you're appreciating the visuals more than they are because you're not actively in control. It was one of them. I was like, wow, that's pretty. Like there's the water. I went out onto a little, not canoe, a little surfboard and stuff.
Oh yes.
That stuff's it's a really nice game. I'm glad it exists. I am just surprised, like you said, it does feel like people don't know it exists.
It does, and it's like it's
not going to be something that it's not going to set fireworks off.
No, but it's Annapurna. It's published by Annapurna, isn't it? Which is. I mean, I know it's a big.
Every
name.
third game is published by Annapurna at the moment.
It does. Yeah, I mean, but that does feel like. I don't know. It's on PlayStation and Xbox.
I think
definitely PlayStation.
Yeah, and it's on PC as well. I played it on PC.
Yeah. Sorry.
It runs on Steam Deck. I wouldn't say it's perfect there, but you can play it there. But
you kind of want something like this on like on the Switch too when it comes. You know, where you can just use that as the camera and this. Do you know what I mean? The screen is all there for you.
Yeah. We're not. We don't know yet. But
no, that's not. That wasn't be like a.
I'm just thinking, as for uses of it seems quite cool.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but it's a really cool game, and I think we have a lot of people in our community who fucking love photo mode, and it does feel like they would love this much more than I loved this, and I loved it quite a lot anyway. You know.
Yep. No, I must admit that's one of the main places I was like, I'm surprised that this game hasn't been brought to our attention. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. More than the other way around.
Yeah. But Mick mentioned Switch 2. I just wanted to talk about Switch 2 for a bit because I did get to go hands-on with it.
It wasn't a deliberate segue.
No, I know it wasn't, but I'm taking it. I'm taking it. I won't go on about it for ages because there was like an hour-long podcast-style video like this that myself and Steve did where there's loads of gameplay footage and all sorts where we talked about our thoughts. But I've had a little bit of time to sort of ruminate since, and nothing's changed. I still feel very, very excited about that thing. Like it's still weirding me out how they managed to do the Switch thing, where you first picked up a Switch and it made the Wii U feel like a toy. Now when you pick up the Switch 2, it makes the Switch feel like a toy. Like it's really mad they've managed to sort of pull that trick twice. They even managed to do the thing, when you first experienced HD Rumble, I think most people it would have been 1-2 switch like the marbles in the Joy-Cons, and it felt like, wow, they're actually in there. They're not, but it feels like it. It's remarkable they've managed to do that again with the Welcome Tour. I'm really excited to do it. Like I said it in the video, and I'll say it again here. There were a few things I went in on. There's no way Nintendo is going to be able to change my mind on this. Number one, I will not walk out of there wanting to replay Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Not a chance. Those are games that you lose yourself to. Having both of them looking better, not a chance. Nope, they have done that. I went in there thinking, number two, there is not a chance they will convince me that I want to pay £75 for a Pro controller. I have two perfectly good controllers that work with still amazing battery, the best battery you will have on a controller, and the only thing I'm missing is a chat button. I'll have that on the Joy-Con 2, so I can just, if I'm really desperate, do that. Pick that thing up. Shit. The third thing and this is the one I was like concrete, there is just no way I will walk out of this thing wanting to buy that GameCube controller. Fuck's sake.
So what you're saying is that the event was very negative for you on a personal money level?
On a financial level.
Sounds like
it was devastating. But like the throw, do you remember? When was the last time either of you held a GameCube controller? that weird
been a little
throw on the
while.
triggers.
Yeah.
I think I sold my GameCube to you once
No,
upon
you
a
gave
time.
it to me. It's
I
literally
gave
just
it to you. Yeah,
over
it's there. Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
there
That was the last
underneath.
time I held
Yeah.
the GameCube controller.
Yeah.
Was before that, which was years ago
But
now.
like,
So.
do you remember the weird sort of triggers? They were kind of like they almost had like
Oh,
a
yeah.
half throw. It's got them, and it's wireless. It's got all the buttons for the Switch, so you could,
There's like a
in
meme
theory.
in there of like, there's a meme of the GameCube controller with like
Is
3
there?
hands.
Oh yeah.
There's like a third hand
To
in the
be
middle.
fair, when you look back on it, it is weird. Like, what is that? I suppose it was because you could sometimes play games like that, and
Yeah.
But wasn't it for a specific game? Wasn't it made for?
probably.
It was made for a specific, like I don't know which game it
But
was.
that controller felt so good, and it felt light, and it was like because it's got all the buttons on it, like all the buttons you want on it. And also the other thing, one thing I haven't seen yet is that with the Pro controllers, obviously got the mappable paddles. I haven't seen. The one thing I haven't seen anything of is the UI for the thing. Not a bit of it. It was all locked off. Because we did try. We tried pressing the chat button. We tried pressing the home button. They just didn't work. That was locked off for these days. And it makes sense because they don't want people messing things up. I'm so excited to like properly sit down with some of the games. Metroid felt amazing. The Welcome Tour was a big surprise for me because I've really enjoyed it. Mario Kart is fantastic. I didn't play DK. I watched Steve play it, and I was weird about it because I saw him play it, and I was like, God, I wish I was playing this. But at the same time, it looked so Odyssey to me that I'm like, I don't want to try this now and have to wait 3 months because that's out in July, and that's a long time away.
Month after,
you know, like when you love, say, Mario Odyssey or DK as much as myself, Lyle, you do. That's any wait for that is tough. The third party stuff looks great. I don't really have anything negative to say. The only thing is that I can't answer some of my own questions, like can I plug my Bluetooth headphones? Can I connect them properly this time? And will they work out? Battery life, I don't know. They're all plugged in all the time. Everything else about it, I have no real negatives so far. Is the UI? Well, it will be. The UI will be it'll have to be because I think of the way backwards compatible. I think that's going to be similar. But unless either of you have any questions about the Switch 2.
No, I mean I'm excited that you guys are excited. I don't have a lot of questions.
I just want to play it. I just want mine now. Thanks. I'm ready for it. I want to play all the games. I don't want to play games anywhere else anymore. I'm gonna throw all the rest of my consoles away.
So this is weird because I'm excited for one game on that, and it's
Cyberpunk.
one that
No,
because I've rinsed that like 3 times.
that's true.
The only game that I'm really, really excited to play on that is fucking Wild Hearts again. That's that would almost.
I don't think that was there. Now you've said that, there was a few games that were. I thought Dusk.
I'm not even enamored by Duskbloods.
No, that wasn't there for obvious reasons. But Elden Ring, I don't think was there. And yet Cyberpunk was, and they said that build's like 7 weeks old or something. So it's like
that was a weird thing to hear.
So there's games on it that are coming that I would play again if I hadn't played them to death, if that makes sense. Like, in times of old when a new console came out and we weren't doing necessarily what we do now, like I would happily go, I'll play Elden Ring again or I'll play Cyberpunk again. It just so happens that doing what we do, I played Elden Ring twice. I played Cyberpunk several times, things like that. Yeah. I'm not a big, I'm not a Nintendo fan. Everybody, we've talked about it before. So I'm not excited about the Nintendo stuff. Duskbloods doesn't get me because it's the multiplayer angle to it and stuff. I'm going to wait and see
more about that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. I think if anything's going to get me, it's a FromSoft game. It was one that made your
excitement go like that off the scale, then suddenly, oh bloody hell!
Yeah, it is a game that if anything was going to get me, it would be a FromSoft game. But I was so gutted the way EA handled Wild Hearts and abandoned that game with such fucking insane
I don't think
potential.
EA have got anything to do with this new version.
Yeah,
from
and
what I
the fact
understand.
that it's got a new home, which potentially means there's hope for a franchise or more game now. That's kind of I don't think it's got me to the tune of 400 or 500 quid or whatever. But if there's one that I'm really, really happy to see, it's that one.
Yeah, I actually genuinely forgot about that again because I don't think it was there. Civ 7 was there. The Bravely Default remaster thing, yeah, that had like mouse controls where you were conducting and stuff. That was, I think, new. Saw a bit of that, yeah. But if you let's say, if you want to know more about Switch 2, there is loads of coverage on lootlevelchill.com. There are videos everywhere on our TikTok, on our YouTube channel. Go and have a look for them. If you're on YouTube now, they're literally just a few clicks away. The question of the week time. It's kind of one for Mick mostly, but that's fine. Just to let you know that we do like a bonus podcast at the moment. We're doing it every week, and it's like if we have questions, we do them in there because most of the time they come from our Patreons, and that's patreon.com/lootlevelchill, and that's about a couple of quid, £2.50, $2, whatever, a month, or more if you want. That's great. You keep the lights on, you keep us in. Well, you don't keep us in anything. We just keep us going. It's inspiring, and we'll ask you questions on that. There's loads of them, and we've also put other stuff like bonus audio. Like when we've done interviews, we've just dropped the full audio there for people to listen. But the question of the week this week comes from Mikhail, and he says, "How does Mandragora feel quality-wise compared to Blasphemous 2 and Ender Magnolia?" I'm going to answer half of that, but.
That's a good question.
I don't think he feels like Ender Magnolia at all.
No, I mean he could have picked any number of games.
Yeah, they're very specific.
Two in particular. If you're talking quality-wise, I think it's a very different game to either of them. Like I said, Mandragora is very much a 2D Souls-like RPG. That's what it is. It's got loot, it's got levels, it's got all that stuff.
Whereas Mick, for fuck's sake.
It's also got chill.
Thank you. For God's sake. We could do 100,000 podcasts, and I don't think that's ever going to be on offer again.
But yes, whereas Ender Magnolia is much more of a straight, like a Metroidvania. Really, it's not so much. There's no loot, there's no gear. You have that. I don't know if you know about Ender Magnolia to people watching or listening, but it's a 2D Metroidvania where like your abilities come from absorbing like the souls of these. Sometimes they're bosses, sometimes they're just characters. These homunculi, and then your sort of character is useless. They can't fight or do anything really, but the homunculi can be summoned in a second, and they fight for you and do all these things for you. Whereas your character is just a little girl. So yeah, that is. But quality-wise, I kind of think maybe Ender Magnolia kind of pips it a little bit, just because, in terms of just overall quality, I had there's bits in Mandragora that I'm not 100% on board with. Like the story's a little bit. It's a Metroidvania. Metroidvanias try to do big story. They struggle a bit sometimes because the pacing is, here's a story beat, but I'm going to go and explore for 9 hours, then come back to the next story beat, and I've forgotten the last one now. So it's kind of got that pacing thing. It's got some issues with the writing's a little bit iffy. The dialogue's a little, like I say in the review, it's one of those games where everybody's got a different dialect. The main character's got an American accent, but this guy I'm speaking to is Irish. Then this vampire sounds like, I don't know, something from Cyberpunk. It's weird. But yeah, Ender Magnolia. But Blasphemous though, or Blasphemous 2, I mean, I liked that. I played it, I enjoyed it. It was really well made. You can't knock it for what it is, but Blasphemous is so fucking grim. Like, it's such a grim and depressingly grim atmosphere. I remember I reviewed it and I gave it a high score, and a Dragon ate the review, but I remember that I reviewed it, I gave it a high score, and because I appreciated how good the game was, but it wasn't fun. Like Blasphemous 2 wasn't a fun game, whereas Mandragora I have a lot of fun with. So I think it's better than Blasphemous 2 just in terms of that. But I think it just falls, maybe it's difficult to compare it to Ender Magnolia because at a glance, if you were watching somebody play both games, you'd probably assume they were very similar. But they're completely apples and oranges. It's very, very different. So I think maybe I enjoyed Ender Magnolia as a complete package more, but it was over quicker. So it's probably easier to say that. There's less extraneous stuff in Ender Magnolia. It's pretty much more of a straightforward Metroidvania, whereas Mandragora, you're all over the place all the time. There's all these different routes and things to unlock. So yeah, but yeah, better than Blasphemous 2, but I'd say maybe on a par with Ender Magnolia,
which, to be fair, was in early access for quite a while as well. So
it was, yeah.
Or was that the second game? Shit.
They both were, weren't they?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think they've both
yeah,
been early access.
yeah. Sorry, I think you're right. And with that, that's the end of the podcast. We have a question that's especially for Lyle, but to hear that, if you're looking at the video up there, patreon.com/lootlevelchill. So go there and have a look at that. Thank you to Lyle, and thank you to Mick for being here this episode.
Thanks for having us.
It's
And
been
to
a
everybody
pleasure.
else, look at the socials. They're all there, and just follow them and go and look at everything and, do that. And thank you very much. And we will speak to you next episode or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye.